All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Beyond the Practice. Today, I'm joined by Ebony Green, the founder and the CEO of the Speak Center. Welcome to the show, Ebony.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right. So first, we'll start, with the journey. A couple basic questions. Can you tell us about your background and what led you to actually find the Speak Center?
So, my background is in K through 12 education. I actually started my journey as a teacher. I was in a program called Teach for America where you teach in underserved communities. So, right out of my undergraduate program, I taught in an urban school district for 2 years and then decided to move from elementary school to high school, taught high school in another urban area for 2 years. And then it was during the time that I was working in the school setting that I discovered speech language pathology. Um, Speech language pathologists can work in both medical and educational settings. So my first opportunity to talk to a speech language pathologist was in a school setting. And she and I discussed kind of what she did. I just became really intrigued with the opportunity to work with children who had special education needs. So I decided to pivot from teaching and go back to school to become a speech therapist. So my journey as a speech language pathologist started with me working in the school setting, since that is what I was familiar with. But I then decided to go the clinical route and work in private practice. A couple years after working in the schools, and I've owned my own private practice now for 7 years.
Yes, congratulations. It's a nice journey. It's a nice story. All right, so as far as when building the practice, getting it established, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when you first integrated this therapy center?
So I think one of the biggest challenges that a lot of allied health professionals face who have the opportunity to go into private practice is not really having a solid business foundation. In speech language pathology programs, there are no courses to help prepare you for business ownership or private practice. So the biggest struggle for me was learning not just how to be a good clinician, but learning how to be a good business owner, learning how to navigate some of the challenges with insurance, learning how to do finances in a business. So having to learn those new procedures, new things that I'd never been exposed to was difficult, but also learning that you kind of have to shift your mindset a little bit from clinician to CEO or to business owner if you want to be successful in business.
I'm laughing because it was about a week ago we had somebody on and I asked a similar question and she's like, I don't know if you know this, but they don't have business courses in nursing school. And I'm like, yep, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Uh, so how did your approach of building your team with all the specialties across the different therapy modalities, like what was that approach like, to create the best team possible?
Well, one of the things I learned as I was growing my business is that it actually is much easier to get business from a patient that you already serve, right? So a patient that's already on your caseload, you can get them to get services at your private practice that they may need because they're already a patient. So we started to listen to our patients, and we were getting requests for other therapies like music therapy, feeding therapy, occupational therapy. So even though my background is not in those areas, I did research and I found out how I could start to offer those services to our current patient caseload. And as soon as we launched our other therapies, we already had a caseload already built into the practice. So it made it much easier to scale and grow because we listened to our patients.
That's fantastic. That's great. All right. So, you spoke about your patients, the relationships, everything like that. How do you ensure families feel supported throughout the whole therapy journey?
I think just kind of making sure, number one, that you have good supports in place for families. So, as the owner and the CEO, I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of time to cater to every family's individual needs. But what I do have is a team of professionals that are here to support our families in every way possible. So we have someone that assists with intake, we have someone that assists with serving as a liaison between them and the therapists. We have someone who helps with insurance benefits verification. So I have a full team of support personnel to help ensure that our families are supported because I myself cannot be there to do all these things. And I think it's important when you grow to learn that you do have to duplicate yourself, and that's going to require you to have team members that can serve in various roles that you're no longer able to do because you're focused on growing the business.
Yeah, that hit home when I got into my position. It's I wanted to do it all. I wanted to do it all. My boss, like the administrator, kept telling me, you need to be able to delegate. You got to be able to have trust in the right people, and it's a big thing when it comes to the business and success and continuity and patient care. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my favorite questions because I always love to hear it. Can you share a success story that demonstrates the impact of your integrated approach?
Yeah, there are several that I could share, but I think one in particular that stands out to me is a patient that we started seeing before COVID who just gotten a diagnosis of autism. It's a pediatric patient. The patient is nonverbal, but the family realized after getting the diagnosis that there was going to be a lot of therapies for their child in order to, address the needs for speech, for occupational therapy, feeding therapy, and they also decided to do music therapy for their child. So all of those things can be a lot for a parent to handle, even a two-parent household, to have to take your child to multiple therapies throughout the week. But I think the success story for us is that um, we're kind of a one-stop shop for this family. So rather than them having to go to four different facilities for their child services, they can come to one. So I see, how convenient it is for them to be able to drop their child off for speech and then immediately after have the music therapy session. Also, because we offer treatment in a different setting, so we do clinic based, we do home based, and we do telehealth. I see a lot of families have changes where maybe they can't come to the clinic because, they are just in a busy season. So we're able to make adjustments to maybe doing their sessions online. So just being able to kind of meet the families where they are is my biggest success story, because caring for a special needs child can be very demanding. It kind of, your life revolves around your child's therapy and your child's needs. So us being able to make it easier for our parents, and making sure that the child doesn't go without therapy because it's a busy week for mom, or they can't come in to see us, we can make adjustments and make sure that therapies are still happening.
Yeah, that one stop shop approach is got to be huge. It's got to be huge.
Yes.
Families to get out of the house to know it's all going to be taken care of. That's excellent. Absolutely. All right. So let's see. What marketing strategies have been most effective, like in the outreach of Arizona families? And do you actually ever see anybody come to Arizona? Like, do you have any patients and families that will travel to come to you outside of the Arizona state too? So kind of a two in one, but I kind of wanted to ask that in the same breath.
Yeah. So marketing, to be honest, we don't do a ton of marketing besides the stuff that most people do. We do our Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn marketing, but beyond that, we don't do a whole lot. I think our marketing actually happens through the events that we put on. So we have community events. For example, this month we have our fall festival coming up where we invite the community to be a part of a sensory friendly trunk or treat, and we have a bounce house, and we have face painters, and just the opportunity for families who might not feel comfortable going to a big, event somewhere where maybe their child will be overwhelmed or overstimulated. We invite those families to come to our event because it's smaller, it's run by our therapist, so we're well aware of how to make accommodations for children with special needs. So we get a lot of interest in our services through events like that. Over the summer, we offer a sensory-friendly movie night. So we rent out the movie theater. We invite people to come in who have kids with special needs because sometimes it's hard for them to go to a movie if their child, is not able to sit through the movie, or if they are overstimulated, or if they're, not able to be quiet in a movie. So this gives them a chance to bring their child. There's no pressure for them to sit quietly. And it's in an environment where families feel comfortable. So things like that, I would say, are kind of our unconventional ways to market and get more people to see what we're about. And then as far as people coming from out of state, I don't think we've had anybody come out of state specifically to from out of state to see us, but we have had therapists who live in other states move here to work with us, which is really exciting because we've gotten some really good therapists from other states who see us, they find us online, they see kind of what we do, and then they decide they want to come be a part of our team. So yeah.
That speaks a lot about the team, the culture, and at the end of the day, it's all about your team and what you present to these families and the product you put out. Being that empathetic, compassionate person, they're gonna see
Hmm.
that and they're gonna move to Arizona for that. So that's
Yes.
accolades to you and your team. All right, so maybe now we'll switch a little bit to like the industry insights. Okay, so like what trends are you seeing like in children's therapy services nowadays?
I would say one of the trends that we're seeing now is integrating more therapies under one roof, so kind of the multidisciplinary approach. There are a lot of speech therapy practices that are implementing behavior therapy as well into their practices. Behavior therapy is also known as ABA. So, ABA is a type of therapy that helps children with autism. There is some controversy about it because the methods that they use can be a little strict. They're not really flexible a lot of times with some of the ways that they do treatment, but there is a common ground at a lot of practices that have speech and ABA. So ABA is kind of the new trend in the speech language pathology world, in the children's therapy world. I would also say that going back to in-person services versus telehealth services is kind of trending right now. Prior to, or during COVID, everybody wanted virtual services, and now it's really hard to get families to agree to virtual services. So, unfortunately, that I guess trend of being seen virtually has gone away. And I say unfortunately because we were able to see so many more kids that we couldn't have, access to through, we were able to see them through teletherapy, but now, people really want that in-person therapy experience. So those are the trends that I'm seeing right now.
Okay. Do you feel that the telehealth and in person, do you feel that the children kind of like did they get the same out of the therapy sessions? And is that a reason that the parents do want to be more in person? I know I'm an in person like I
Hmm.
prefer to be in person. That's just me. That's my like personality. But just speak on that. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that the children did get just as much telehealth versus being in person?
I do. I think that telehealth is effective, but I agree that not everybody is a candidate for telehealth. However, even with some of the challenging cases that we see, there's always accommodations that can be made. So we always encourage parents to at least try it out and then kind of decide if it's going to work or not, and give it more than one visit. Like the first visit's always going to be a challenge because the child might not even know that they're supposed to be paying attention and that they're in a therapy session. So after like 3 sessions, if it's still not working, then you can kind of make the decision on whether to continue or not. But I think a lot of people are reluctant to even trying it because they just want in person. But the American Speech Language Hearing Association says that it is just as effective, and you can see very similar results to being an in-person in an in-person session. So, yeah.
And I can see, you play devil's advocate the other way too. Maybe the children starts to like, maybe the child starts to really love it, and they look forward to it. You maybe make like a setting around it, and they know when they're going there for that locked in telehealth. If they buy in that way, then you're not talking about out of the house, transportation, all that. So I
Correct.
guess absolutely both sides of it. And you kind of talked about, the trending and what's going on in the future. A little bit, this is an open umbrella question. What advice would you give to other healthcare providers looking to create integrated practices?
My advice is to listen to the needs of your patients. If your patients are asking for certain therapy or if they're asking for a certain treatment or something that you could potentially offer or bring on, um, think about adding that to your practice because it will help your patients tremendously to not have to go and search for another practice to get those services done. So, like I said, for us, we realized that a lot of people needed occupational therapy, a lot of people needed feeding therapy. So we started to look into ways to bring those services in house so that we could just have a one stop shop. So really listen to the needs of your current patients. It's always easier to kind of get them to buy into your service versus having to market and recruit new clients.
Great advice. So let's talk about, the vision that, because as a CEO, the founder, you always got to be looking forward, right? Vision. What do you see the vision of the Speak Center's future look like?
I see the vision of the Speak Center being more than just an Arizona. Sorry, let me say that. I see the vision of the Speak Center being more than just an Arizona based company. I feel like there's such a need nationwide for the services that we offer. I mean, just in Arizona alone, we have a wait list of 300 patients. So imagine, how many kids need our services in the entire country. So I would like to see us in multiple states. I would like to see us triple our team. I would like to see us be able to serve in communities that really don't have access to the services that we provide. We also do international outreach, so I would like us to continue working internationally with the communities that we serve as well.
Okay, oh, that's great. That's great. I appreciate all the time, but I want to give you the platform one more time. How can the listeners learn more about what Ebony Green does?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Ebony Green. You can also visit our website, www.thespeakcenter.com.
All right. And do you have any other final advice? Not to the healthcare leaders this time, talking straight to the parents that are seeking therapy services for their children.
Yeah, my advice would be to use any resources that you have to um, get help for your child if you have any feeling that something may be wrong. A lot of times, parents don't want to get help because they feel like they're going to get bad news or maybe they're overthinking it. It's always best just to get a professional to tell you if Johnny's lisp is something that you should be concerned about or not. So we always recommend getting a screening if possible. Any speech language pathologist can do a screening or getting a full evaluation if you've been told that your child needs to be evaluated.
Well said. Once again, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Hope you have a great day, all right?
Thank you so much, Nicholas. It was awesome.
Take care.